What's up, everyone? Welcome back to BROJO Online. So last year I released my latest book, The Naked Truth, and as part of the release, I promised to answer some questions from the people who did the pre-orders. And some of those questions have come through, and I'm going to answer one of those now. And I'm going to do a series of videos, which will be collected together as a single podcast, answering all these questions about how to be honest in the real world, how to overcome the challenges both internally and externally to being a truthful person. Okay, one question that comes from Teddy. Can you expand on the differences between integrity and honesty as you see it? Okay, so we're really talking about word definitions, and when it comes to definitions, I want something that people can use practically. You get the definitions of your words right, it can really help you manage your behavior. The definition of integrity, the dictionary definition, includes honesty. So integrity is basically a consistency. You are the same in all situations, you're the same person. And honesty, what you say and what you do accurately reflects what's going on inside you. There's also an idea of being unbroken, unbreakable. So that's like the dictionary definition of integrity, whereas I'd say the dictionary definition of honesty is what you express matches your thoughts and feelings. Or at least that's my definition. I use the word integrity to describe a state of living consistently by your core values. Honesty being one of those values, if you have honesty as a value. 100% integrity, in my opinion, is not possible. A coach that I used to have, Rich Litvin, said one part of being authentic is being inauthentic. It's natural, no matter how genuine you're trying to be, that you're going to slip. In fact, you won't know you've slipped until afterwards. So that's unavoidable. One of the things I talk about, confidence. So let's talk about the relationship between confidence, integrity, and honesty. Confidence, my definition of confidence, is essentially that you are very happy with who you are. You impress yourself. You don't want to swap places with anybody else. You love who you are. You're sure of yourself in terms of you back yourself, you respect yourself, and so on. It's essentially having a very loving, unconditional relationship with yourself. That's confidence. Now, integrity, in my opinion, is the recipe for confidence. If you can figure out what your core values are, how to live by them, and then do that consistently, you will eventually and always build your confidence. You'll become more and more confident over time because that is the way to impress yourself. It's essentially like if you're in a relationship with someone and they keep impressing you with their behavior, you just love them more and more. Well, it's you doing that with you. The core values are the criteria for impressing. You don't impress yourself with big achievements and successes and money and approval from others, not for very long. You know that because you've tried it and it doesn't last. You always need another hit. Valued living is different. Valued living is when you impress yourself even if no one else is watching, even if no one else would give you a medal for it or consider it to be a particularly amazing act. But you knew what it was. It's what I call small but significant. You do something that might not be big to other people, but it's very significant to you. I had an example from a client where he was going to a restaurant. He had some social anxiety, and he walked up the stairs to go to the restaurant, saw that it was full and noisy, and walked away. And as he was walking away, he was like, no, I've got to do this. So he turned around and went back into the restaurant. Now, there's no one on this planet that's going to give him a medal for doing that. Going into a restaurant is not an impressive act in anybody else's opinion. But to him, that was a significant act of courage. He turned and walked into his fear rather than running away like he usually did. That is having integrity, and nobody else needs to even notice that it took place because he loved himself more after that than he would have had he walked away. That's integrity, and that's the connection between integrity and confidence. So integrity is made up of your core values, and honesty is one of many possible values. In my books, I define values as essentially a set of principles that you're trying to live by, a core set of intentions behind your behavior. What are you trying to be as you do what you do and say what you say? Now, values aren't the same as, say, virtues, which are what you might call socially conditioned values. So, the Ten Commandments in the church, those are virtues. They're a set of rules you have to follow for other people to think you're a good person. That's not values. And values aren't something that is out of your control. Like, you can't value money or family because you might not have money, or family might hate you. You can't control any of that. So it has to be something under your control for it to count as a value. I've got a whole course on BROJO, Discovering Your Core Values, that Mike Wells and I did together. And if you're unsure of what your values are, I recommend you do that course. It's free to the public. So I've got a set of core values. In fact, I've narrowed it down to 6 main ones that I need to focus on. There's a bunch of others that happen automatically. I don't even need to try. But there's this group of 6 that I need to focus on. Curiosity, which is always trying to learn, always being open to new information, always exploring. Courage, which means facing up to my fears. Honesty, which means speaking accurately what's happening inside me. Respect, which is a kind of live and let live policy. I allow other people to live the way they want, but I don't let them cross my boundaries. Acceptance, which means letting go of what I can't control. And responsibility, which means taking ownership of what I can and should control. These are my core values. Now, when I get it right, I have high self-confidence, and when I get it wrong, my self-confidence takes a hit. It's kind of like going to the gym. You don't lose your confidence completely if you skip a workout, kind of thing. But in order to build a lot of strong self-confidence, you have to work out quite frequently, more frequently than you don't. So I've got this 80% rule. If you want to have high self-confidence, you need to be living with integrity at least 80% of the time. 80% of what you do should align with your core values. If you're not sure that it does or it doesn't, then you can count that as against your confidence. You're acting in a shameful way, shame being the opposite of confidence. Shame being the idea there's something wrong with you, whereas confidence being the idea that there's nothing wrong with you. Now, honesty, in my opinion, is the most important value. For a number of reasons. It's kind of like the king of the values, but firstly, for me personally, it was the one that was most lacking at the same time that I was most lacking in confidence. And I noticed a direct correlation, almost cause and effect. The more honest I was, the more I liked myself. The less honest I was, the less I liked myself. Those things were hand in hand, tied together with chains. And so I found that as I was more honest, it actually required me to live by all the other values automatically. For me to be really truthful, I had to take responsibility for my life. If I'm playing the victim, it's a kind of dishonesty. I'm not being accurate about what I can and can't control. Curiosity, when I honestly express what I'm interested in, I'm naturally following the path of curiosity. If I say I want to know more about that, then that's curiosity covered. Curiosity is also about self-awareness. You can't be honest if you don't know what the truth is. So I have to constantly explore who I am, what I'm doing, in particular, why I'm doing it. Be honest with myself about that, and then I can be honest with the outside world. For example, if I'm sulking to make my wife feel bad, I'm not going to be able to adjust that behavior until I admit to myself that that's what I'm doing. And then once I admit it, I can tell her and say, look, I was actually just putting on a bit of a performance so you'd feel sorry for me because I need some validation right now. That way, I can purge the shame about it. Courage is an obvious one. Most of the time, the reasons people aren't honest is because of a lack of courage. The inability to go and endure more fear than you're comfortable enduring. Put it this way, if you had 100% courage, you have 0% dishonesty. Really, you can't be dishonest without some fear involved. Or should I say not fear, but lack of courage. And all my other values. If I live by honesty, I was forced to do them. Like, if I'm honestly asserting my boundaries, that's respect covered. If I'm honest with myself about what I can't control, that's acceptance covered. So honesty just became my single point of focus. That's why I'm so obsessed with it. Because I don't need to think about all my other values when I'm focused on honesty. They all happen naturally. And this is the case for a lot of the people that I work with. A lot of my clients, if they just focus single-mindedly on being more honest, everything else they're supposed to be doing will naturally occur. So, that's the relationship between those three: confidence, integrity, and honesty. Confidence is built by having 80% or more integrity. Integrity is driven mostly by being honest. So a simple equation is, if you want to love yourself more, just keep being more honest. And that's really, my book is like 440 pages or something. It could just be one sentence. If you're feeling lack of confidence, be more honest. That's it. That's the whole book in a single sentence. But of course, there's a lot more in the book in terms of detail. So go grab a copy on Amazon, The Naked Truth. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.